Hello and welcome back to the JUKEBOX Time Machine. This week the needle has dropped in 1996, so we're going to spin back and experience the sights and sounds of mid-May of that year. More specifically, the week of the 13th to the 19th. UK culture was at the height of its Britpop, football and lad culture zeitgeist. Oasis dominated despite not even having a song in the top 40 this week. I'll explain more later. Gina G was representing the UK at Eurovision with a bona fide pop hit, and London-based flat drama This Life was the talk of the television. So let's get stuck in with the UK Top 10 chart, which was published on Sunday the 12th of May 1996. Right, the number 10 song of this week was Nobody Knows by the Tony Rich Project. This slow, dreamy R&B hit climbed to its peak a couple of weeks later, reaching number 4 and stayed in the top 40 for a healthy 15 weeks. And at number 9, down from its chart entry position of number 5 last week, Blur's Charmless Man hangs on in the top 10 for its second week here. It's typical jaunty Blur fare with spiky guitars and cockney vocals as expected. Okay, on to movies. Well, there's a lot to get through this week, so I'll just list through what was drawing Brits to the flicks mid-May 96. Right, in no particular order we have Kurt Russell and Steven Seagal in airplane terrorist flick Executive Decision. Snipes and Harrelson were back together in Money Train. The first Toy Story film was impressing the masses and critics alike. Terry Gilliam's time travel oddity 12 Monkeys with Bruce and Brad. Richard Dreyfuss' school-based weepy Mr. Holland's Opus. All-star queer comedy The Birdcage. Ridley Scott's sailing drama White Squall. Cheesy John Woo action flick Broken Arrow with John Travolta and Christian Slater. Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, Tarantino-esque crime drama, Sigourney Weaver's serial killer thriller Copycat, Ang Lee's Sense and Sensibility with its adapted screenplay written by Emma Thompson, which won her an Oscar, decent Shakespeare adaptation Richard III starring Ian McKellen, I think the only British film in this week's box office selection, Woody Allen prostitute comedy Mighty Aphrodite, City Hall, Pacino and Cusack corruption drama, Irish Julia Roberts thing Mary Riley, Ian Softly hacker film Hackers, and Van Damme's ice hockey terrorist action thriller Sudden Death. Okay, and that's it for 1996's abundance of movies. Let's get back to our top 10. A new entry smashing its way into the top 10 this week is sweeping rock banger Tonight Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins. Another new entry at number 7 is pulsating dance track There's Nothing I Won't Do by JX. It reached number 4 next week and spent 10 weeks in the top 40. Okay, let's see what we were watching on the box at home in the spring of 96. Well, there was This Life, a house share drama about 20-something law students in South London, which had started in March, and this week aired episode 9, Just Sex, right after The X-Files. It's the episode where Welsh Warren hooks up with Tinita Tickeram's brother Ramon, only to find that he's straight and engaged to be married to a lady.
This is good.
And later in the week we had Later with Jules Holland on Friday night on BBC Two. This week's guests included Hootie and the Blowfish, Ben Folds 5, Pete Townsend, and my favourites, Manic Street Preachers, who you may hear from again later in the video. And on Saturday evening, the 41st annual Eurovision Song Contest was aired on BBC One at 8 p.m. It was held in Oslo, Norway, and hosted by a-ha's Morten Harket. Ireland won for the 4th time with Amir Quinn's The Voice.
Listen, my child, you say to me, I am the voice of your history.
Britain's entry Ooh Ah Just a Little Bit, performed by Australian singer Gina G, came in a fairly close second.
Rise of the Black Horse. Oh, crew! It's time to plunder the foe! Come on then, pull!
Oh, leave it out, Victor. There's no future in this plundering business. And I'm packing it all in to open up in hosiery.
Hosiery?
You should see the ladders you get off those rough wooden boats. Now, there's your market. And I found some money through the Lloyd's Bank grant finding service.
What?
You know that Lloyd's Bank manager we nabbed? He's helped us find these amazing grants you can get for businesses.
Are you all in on this?
I'm going into telecommunications. Bathroom fitting exports for me.
So you've no further need for a bold, fearless leader then?
Oh, excuse me, but I may be of some use here.
Isn't it amazing what you can get a grant for? Come on, you dogs! Last one, there's a sissy! Come on!
Grant finding, another legendary service from Lloyd's Bank.
Okay, let's get back to the chart. At number 6 is the first of 2 football team songs in the top 10 this week, due to the FA Cup which happened the week before. More about that later. This one is Manchester United's effort, the official title being Move, 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 the Red Tribe by 1996 Man United FA Cup squad. At number 5 it's Suggs And His Mates with Cecilia. This cover peaked the week before at number 4 and spent 11 weeks in the top 40. Well, there wasn't much going on that I can find for news and sport, so I'll just include the FA Cup final here, which happened just 2 days before our chart week began. Liverpool faced Manchester United, with the latter triumphant after an 85-minute goal from Eric Cantona.
But Manchester United have a corner. Gary Pallister calling for it. James can only fist it. It comes for Cantona! I don't believe it!
Back to the top 10. Following on from our last segment, in at number 4 this week is Liverpool's FA Cup song, Pass and Move, It's the Liverpool Groove, by Liverpool FC and Boot Room Boys. Unsurprisingly, it dropped out of the top 10 the next week and spent only 4 weeks in the top 40.
Straight out the boot room, to Wembley, our second home. We come to conquer, no, we never walk alone. We dominate, the cream of the crop, drawing all our strength from the roar of the cop.
And on its way slowly back down the chart, at number 3, it's Mark Morrison's mega hit, Return of the Mac. It peaked at number 1 in mid-April, where it spent 2 weeks, and it spent 12 weeks in the top 10 and 17 weeks in the top 40.
Baby, now I got the flow.
Free money!
If you was giving away £5 notes every day, you'd expect a queue, wouldn't you? We all like something for nothing. Well, it's the same with BT's Friends and Family scheme. Now it's free to join. And you get 10% off of all calls to your 5 favourite numbers. Just ring 0800 800 020 with your 5 numbers now. It's that simple. Millions have done it already.
Get your free money!
So, if you haven't, do it now.
Right, onto our games section. Well, zombie horror survival game Resident Evil was the most recent game released and became one of the most popular of the era, spawning many sequels.
Valentine. Resident Evil.
People would have also been playing games like Virtua Fighter 2, released in January for the Sega Dreamcast, Tekken and Ridge Racer on the PlayStation, and Donkey Kong, mostly all released at the end of '95.
Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. It's even tougher than the original.
Right, and onto our penultimate chart entry. Well, we already touched on this track a little bit earlier on. It's Gina G again with Ooh Ah Just a Little Bit. Her rather successful Eurovision entry was one of the sounds of the spring that year. It stuck around the top 10 for an impressive 10 weeks. And at number 1, looking for some fast love, it's George Michael. This cheeky little dance track hit number 1 on its release and stayed there for 3 weeks. It was Michael's 7th and final number 1 single in the UK during his lifetime. And the number 1 song in America was Mariah Carey's Perky, Always Be My Baby. And finally, for my forgotten gem of the week, I'm going to cheat again and feature a double bill of Welsh bands. Firstly, as mentioned earlier, one of my favourite bands, Manic Street Preachers, were at number 15 this week with anthemic single A Design for Life. This was after being kept off the top spot 4 weeks earlier by Mark Morrison's Return of the Mac, giving the Manics their highest chart position of their career at that point. Also in its second and last week in the top 100 was the Super Furry Animals with God Show Me Magic. Down to number 63 from its entry at number 33, it was an early single from the band's debut album on Creation Records that was a slice of manic, surreal, shouty pop rock brilliance. And to finish off, I'll just demonstrate what I meant about Oasis being dominant despite not being in our top 10 this week. They still had 10 songs lingering around the top 100, with tracks like Shaker Maker being in the top 100 for 62 weeks in total. It just goes to show the staying power that Oasis had, that the early singles were still in the charts after years, while songs by their contemporary Britpoppers like Blur or Supergrass, who would spend around 7 to 9 weeks in the top 100 at most. Oasis truly were the kings of the UK 90s music scene. And that's it from this week's Jukebox Time Machine. Join me next week when I think I'll be back in the 70s again. So until then, take care of yourselves.
This episode was brought to you by the internet and me, Ed. All voiceovers were recorded on a Yamaha MT-54 track cassette recorder.
Launch minus 30 seconds.
So, my friends, your search for the self-destruct button is over. No last request. Let us drink to the end of the world.
Minus 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, heck no, that was close.
I told you we should have gone to Nag's Head.
Waddington, Scream of Manchester, over and out.
Oh.